All right, so hopefully my audio is much better. And it looks that it's okay. So let's continue on with the topic of absolute linear functions. Let's write that down. Absolute linear functions as such. Now, again, what is an absolute value? The absolute value is when we simply add these special brackets. When the input inside is negative. So when the input side is negative, and let's say a is smaller than 0, the output is simply the size of a with a plus sign. So a very quick example from the previous video. If we get minus 15 and we take the absolute value, it results in a positive 15. In a very simple way of thinking, it changes the sign to plus. Now, very careful, I will show why it's a kind of incorrect or risky way of thinking. Let me add a nice box right here. So we have absolute linear functions. Now, it's really important to understand what happens. So let's draw a very nice coordinate system right here. Now, I'm not making ticks because I am not going to be drawing it exactly. Okay, I will only do this. Okay, so I will use various colors. Now, the first, let's say, rule, so let's use y1, is right here as the following. If we add plus a and it's inside the bracket, now really careful here, this is inside the bracket, the absolute bracket. It's very important. It's inside our function, which previously, well, let me draw a dotted line of how the original looks like. So the original is simply absolute value of x. Here's the dotted line of how the original looks like, okay? This is the absolute value. And now if we add a, it shifts towards the left, okay? So what is the result? It shifts to the left, or in other words, the negative x direction. So if a were 3, then it would start from, let's say, here. Here's a, and let me draw a nice blue, and it should be 45 degrees. If not, I'm sorry. It should something like this, and of course all the way to infinity. Y1 is the first one. Now let's go with a nice orange. What happens if instead of plus we use minus? Yeah, and I think I'll use a red for the minus a. And in case of minus a, which is again inside the bracket, don't forget it's inside the bracket, then it shifts right here because of this minus sign. It shifts towards the right. Shift towards, well, there's the right or the plus x direction. So this time it would be a right here, and the function would look again the same, just shifted, and also connecting at the same point. Y2, which I should have drawn in orange, but well, whatever. Let's go with a purple Y3. Now be very careful. Right now I'm going away outside the bracket. I ended the bracket and I add a plus A. So let me again use my I think I'll continue with yellow. This is outside the bracket. It's outside the bracket. As you can see here, it's not inside anymore. And this one, which I will write in purple, shifts upwards. Shifts upwards, which I should have write it in capitals, or the positive y direction. So this time I will exaggerate, okay? A might be, I'm gonna exaggerate so it doesn't go through it. Let's say A is here and the function goes as such here. Of course, 45 degrees and ideally perfectly straight. The last rule of how to draw, let's say the basic rules, yeah, which I can write. So these are the basic rules of how the functions shift. Let's use a nice blue, a blue color. Y4 equals absolute value, and this time I use a negative A, which again it's outside. However, this time it's shifted downwards. So shifts downward or downwards minus Y. Again, I'm going to exaggerate somewhere here. 45 degrees, and it would look something like this, approximately. Y4. So let me put it in boxes. So the first rule is right here. The second rule is here. The third rule and the fourth. These are not all the rules, and let's continue in the following video.